Let's go Knights! Hello and welcome to Knights Spotlight. I'm Lane Glenn, the president of Northern Essex Community College here in the beautiful Merrimack Valley of Northeast Massachusetts. We have amazingly talented faculty and staff all around us on both of our campuses here at NECC. They're teaching, they're researching, they're preparing students for careers in a world that is constantly changing, and every one of them has something really interesting to share. Today, I'm very happy to say that I am in the office of math professor Habib Maagoul here on the Haverhill campus. Professor Maagoul, Habib, can I call you Habib?
Yes, please.
Habib has taught for Northern Essex for around 15 years. He was here for a while. He left briefly. He loved it so much he came back. We're so grateful that he did that. And he's well known both inside the classroom and outside the classroom. Besides the classes that he teaches and the students who love him, he's the chair of our Academic Affairs Committee. He has taken students on travel tours abroad. He's taught in our early college program. Recently, he won a National Institute of Staff Organization Development Awards, which is something that he was nominated for by his colleagues here at the college. So first of all, congratulations on your nice award, Habib. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to start with a question that you probably hear some version of a lot. So it won't surprise you. Math can be intimidating for some people, right? Maybe especially for students who may not have always had positive experiences with math. What are some strategies that you use to help the learning math subjects more accessible, more reachable for students who might feel challenged by it?
Okay. Well, that's a really good question. And especially talking about math is really entertaining because they always think that math was really created to make our life miserable.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say that, but okay, since you put it that way, yes, all right.
I think for students to really gain confidence in mathematics, it depends about the student and the faculty, especially the faculty.
Yeah.
First of all, you really have, there's a mix of encouragement you have to give the student to feel really comfortable in the class. It's okay to make a mistake. Mistake is, all of us will make mistake, but you really have to figure out how to encourage students to ask questions, make the basic, emphasize the basic. You have to pay so much time on the basic to make sure they understand the basic before you move to something more complicated. And also environment. You have to be a really safe environment for the student to ask questions. And one more thing is really essential is faculty have to know their student. Because once you know them, become more personal, lecture become more personal, assessment become personal.
So one of the other things that you often hear about math is, oh, well, I'll never use this in the real world. How do you help make connections for your students between what they're learning in the classroom and the real world of their personal lives or their work lives? What do you do to contextualize math?
Okay, before I answer these questions, I always ask my students at the beginning of every single class, if you tell me about one thing, we don't use math, you get an A in my class and you don't have to show.
One thing?
One thing.
Right. One thing that doesn't use math.
Yes.
And have you ever been stumped? Have you ever had to?
They keep telling about stuff.
I love it.
They tell them we use math.
And you point at the math, okay.
Yes. I think connecting math with a real life application is really important because that's the only time the student, they value what they're really learning. Statistics class, we heavily use a lot of data. Like, for example, it's about healthcare. Students, they have to really understand, for example, the probability.
Yeah.
Hypothesis testing, is really heavily in medical field because you have to decide if this drugs is effective or not.
You're right.
You have to use the hypothesis for it. I can go to for example, the business and finance. Something simple comes up from the business. You have to make some data-driven decision that comes up from the business.
All of the men in my family, my biological relatives, are engineers, except for me. I'm the standout. So which means I can sometimes translate for them in polite society. But they talk about some of the things that you're talking about, right? The importance of these things for, one of them's a civil engineer in bridge building or septic system.
Predicting the motion in physics too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's all, anything keep changing, that become derivatives.
So some of what we're talking about is almost as old as, the written word, certainly, right? Centuries of mathematics building on itself over time. And it feels sometimes like the acceleration of technology is causing things to evolve in a way that we're trying to understand in real time. We had Professor Devin Walton on Night Spotlight in the fall talking about artificial intelligence and the changes that it's starting to create in everything, right? How do you see changes in technology impacting the teaching of mathematics?
7-8 years ago, statistics was really, we do all this tedious calculation of the standard deviation. It's like took hours to do it. And the math department got together. So, okay, while we have to keep focusing on this tedious calculation, what about with the software, Excel calculator to do this work? And we basically focus our time in inferential. And that's now what we do with statistics. Statistics is where I always spend a little bit of time on how to collect the data, description, graphs, and all this stuff. But we spend a lot of time on inferential. Yeah.
Well, certainly, the calculator automated a lot of this decades ago. What is artificial do to accelerate what we now consider to be basic functions of what are you not going to be teaching in a class 2 years from now, do you think, because it's about to get automated? Will there be anything?
Well, for the math, it's a little bit difficult because we try to develop this critical thinking.
Yeah, right.
I know the AI and all this stuff to make it easy for students to solve it in different ways, stuff like that. But the passion and the love of mathematics when you get it by yourself, I figure out this stuff. And I can see the students so happy when they get stuck with some, for example, here's the application, but it comes up to this integral. Like I have 2 students send me this integral, they're working on it for almost 4 days, they didn't get it. And it's just, when I told them, okay, well, just check this little thing. I don't want to give it the whole thing.
Yeah.
And they were so happy. He emailed me, said, oh my God, I got it. But he told them, it took them 3, for example, one problem, differential equation, took them back from pre-calculus, calculus.
I love your passion for this. I
am pure math.
That's all right. You almost make me want to spend 4 days on a problem like that and be able to stand up and say, Eureka, I discovered it, right?
But like you said, we have to, again, look on the other side for students that are not math major engineering.
Yeah.
We like for them to love math. That's why the math department really, you see me talk about the math department, we work as one team. We always try to make the other course non-STEM is lovable, nice, easy. We use a lot of technology on it. More likely, we're with them to pass it. We like them to pass and love the math. Hopefully they can switch to the engineering and business and stuff like that.
All right, well, let's talk about students who might love the math. Somebody comes to the campus and they want to explore math classes, careers that might involve mathematics. Where do they go? What do they do?
Statistics is one of the greatest course. I will invite everyone to go for it.
Okay.
Yes.
Come take your stats course. That'd be number one. Take Habib's stats course.
If you want to go for non-STEM, but if you're going for STEM, we'll highly recommend to go because right now we're back mapping our courses to make sure they're efficient for the prerequisite. They will take applied mathematics to give them the algebra skills and the equations, use the calculator. And then they go to pre-calculus. Pre-calculus in the STEM, it was a course. It used to be 2 courses, by the way. It used to be college algebra and trig. And we put them together as 3, 2, 4 credit. And we make sure that because it's the backbone of the sequence of calculus. Yeah. And we need students, when they take this pre-calculus, the most important thing. Yeah. We need to make sure our courses to be transferred to other universities.
Right.
Our statistics is really good, but I love to teach more than that. Teach more like, for example, the probability and visualization, decision making, like a little bit more. But if we create courses like that, it will not be transferred. Yeah. And that's why we'll stick with what we have.
So you'll prepare your students to go and take those courses.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Well, Habib, thank you for the passion that you bring to teaching math.
Appreciate that.
For all the wonderful things you do for the college here, your leadership roles, and for making people like me and undoubtedly many of your students feel that math is not only accessible, but inspirational.
Well, I cannot do that without the math department itself.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.